You want to do the thing?
Let's do it.
Let's do the thing.
It's Thunderheads with Brandon Soul, Rob Larson, Justin Wright, and the dark and stormy Jason Lewis.
All right, what is up, everybody? Thunderheads are back. We're supposed to be at full strength tonight. However, we're running the three-man game tonight. We do have, hopefully, a little bit of help from Manny.
Oh, Manafred's here.
Because Brandon, we got some exciting news. Brandon and his girlfriend might be welcoming their baby boy to the world very soon.
Very shortly, possibly.
At least within the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's all we know.
That's safe to say.
Or right now. It could be happening right now.
We're going to have to wait for that watch tweet, I guess, to break the news, to let us know.
We will be
exactly.
going live to the hospital.
That would be,
I've got a correspondent on site.
that would be incredible.
Yeah, they would probably be upset.
Just get out of here, Periscope, the whole way there.
I do have a question for you, though. Boys, which one is next? You two.
Oh.
Which one's next?
With the baby thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess as far as Kelsey and I's relationship, we're a lot further along than you guys are. So I guess like I would be the odds-on favorite right now.
He's been there for a minute longer.
As I yell on the microphone.
How long you guys got?
Let's see. We've been.
17 years.
Way to put him
we
on
started
the spot.
dating junior year of high school, kind of off and on.
Oh.
So it's been. It's been 11 years.
That's a long time.
We've been engaged for 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's about time, yeah.
So the Thunder are playing great. The Warriors might be falling apart before our eyes.
Love it.
Life seems pretty good right now. Today, we're going to talk about this current Thunder, how they're playing so well, which means we're going to talk some Steven Adams, maybe touch on that a little bit, Jerami Grant, possibly some Paul George.
He's pretty good.
And then we might, a little treat here, jumping into the Sizzler, Rob Sizzler for a little bit. So see, this evening might get a little weird, but it's definitely going to be fun.
Weird is the best.
We want to thank you guys for joining us, whether it be on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube Live. Make sure you click that thumbs up, subscribe anywhere that you can. Get in touch with the show at OKC Thunderheads on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. We're going to be trying to pump up the Instagram a little bit more. We're on everything, right, guys?
We're all over the place.
All
if you
of
can't
the
find
things.
us, I mean, look harder.
That's on you. That's not on us. We're everywhere.
There's also a link in the description. You can support the show. So every dollar you contribute is always reinvested into the show, and all of the support, everything you guys do helps us. Just watching, interacting with us, giving to the show. However you guys want to do that, we appreciate everything.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we buy ridiculous stuff like this. This guy over here.
Such a good addition. Any thoughts, Manny? All right, so as I mentioned earlier, the Warriors have problems, guys. KD gets angry because Draymond won't pass him the ball, and then Draymond doesn't like that, so he says something to KD. That doesn't work out too well. And then it's been a few days, and it still feels like it's not really resolved. Like Draymond did the interview before. They're playing the Rockets tonight.
Right.
And so Draymond did the interview. I saw Slater had posted it. I watched. It was like 2 minutes and 20 seconds worth of like not much. I mean, him basically saying, we've talked and we're moving forward, basically. And he didn't want to take any questions about it. And so I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I read that write-up today. I didn't actually get to see him say it, but I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
And it did seem like he's just saying we're moving forward. We're not going to implode over an argument, which everybody seems to think they are. But the weird thing to me though is that it seems like Kevin Durant is still like bummed out.
He is,
and
definitely.
somber. It seems like Draymond said something hurtful to him more than we know. There's been, which even the things we know about are pretty hurtful.
Yeah.
He called him a bitch 10 times or something?
Yeah, at least. And then it was like Boogie was kind of standing there and it seemed like he kind of agreed. And that he was just like, yeah, no, I don't know if he was just trying to get him out on the court because they were going into overtime. That game was still going on. And they ended up losing the game, which I think made it even better.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's glorious.
Yeah.
If they win that game, I think kind of tension just dies down a little bit. But the fact that they lost and they're still trying to figure things out, obviously, like with Steph getting hurt, and like they know they're a good team, but like every time they lose, I feel like it hurts them just a little bit. Even though I don't think they're really trying, but when you win 73 games in a regular season, like every single loss kind of stings a little bit because hey, we're better than this. So
right.
I think it's affecting them a little bit. And I love the fact this is happening, but at the end of the day, look, everything has worked out for Golden State.
Yeah,
everything
it's
has.
About time something goes.
So right, but at the end of the day, are you really thinking that it's all going to implode? It's hard to say that right now.
This season, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but the implications really for me are like, is he going to leave? Because there was someone that posted, like, there was a video of KD walking back to the court afterwards, and it looked a lot like he said, "That's why I'm out."
It definitely, to me,
like
it definitely looked like it. That's what he said.
Which I'm horrible at, but
yeah, no, I thought that's exactly what he said. It wasn't like the weirdest thing was it just seemed totally ridiculous that it was the end of the game situation. It wasn't what cost them the game. There was basically like under 4 seconds left whenever he got the ball, or around 4 seconds whenever he got the ball, and Durant is standing underneath the opposite basket, basically standing under their own basket, basically still wanting him to throw him the ball, which obviously in that situation, I think you want Kevin Durant to have the ball.
Correct.
Like there's no doubt about that. If somebody,
100%.
Even if he's going to go down and shoot a 40-foot, jumper, like
that's
still better than Draymond kind of trying to make something happen in such short amount of time.
And tripping and falling.
Yeah, basically losing the ball.
That probably didn't help matters much.
But it just, to me, it seems like something so little. Like you get angry at him, but it doesn't blow up to, so you're leaving? You're like, how do you question his free agency at that moment?
It's like something's been back there building, and apparently people around the team have said this has kind of been building for like 2 years. Like people have been they're asking about it, and I think they're all upset a little bit that he hasn't come out and said like, "Hey, I'm not taking questions about this," or "Hey," but like, what do they expect?
Well, even if he was to say, "No, I'm staying here," don't believe him. I can tell you, don't believe him. Like he's gone.
What do you think happened last time?
Yeah, to me, like this just screams he's gone. We did get a tweet from Lucas Miller at Echelon Copy. He said, "What's the single thing that Draymond said to Kevin in the locker room that brought about this single game suspension? In your opinion, what did he say that crossed the line?"
I would say it was something around Russ was right. You are a cupcake.
Oh,
you
gosh. Bitch. That would
something
be incredible.
Around there, but just with a lot more emphasis and force.
Yeah.
I think it's something along the lines of, look, we never needed you in the first place. Which is painfully true.
It's so true.
This is awesome.
Well, I mean,
like, how awesome is this right now?
It's the best.
That all those Warriors fans, especially the ones that have been fans for 2 years, are finally getting to learn like why we're so upset.
Yeah.
Why we went through a full off season and then full season of agony just knowing that he's playing for the team that we should have beat in the first place.
Yeah.
But that he's out the door. He's out the door, and they get to taste it, and I love it.
Well, you guys remember that time whenever Russ and KD were on the court, and Russ just completely blew up on him and called him a bitch, and then they didn't talk for 3 days. No, this was like when they were teammates. They were
47 times.
They weren't. Whenever they were teammates, and called him a bitch, and then they didn't talk for 3 days. No, that didn't.
Never has that happened.
No, that's not what happens with Russ.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like you.
Do you think?
I kind of think that he's getting what he deserved a little bit. Like he wanted to go there and he wanted to win, and you did that. Congratulations.
And his buddy Draymond is one of the main factors of getting him there.
It wasn't as great as you thought it would be. That's what I get out of this.
Yeah.
And winning is awesome, and that's the goal. That's what everybody wants to do. But at what price was it? Like, how much fun have you really had during this entire experience? Because this is not the first time that something has happened. Like, we've heard other people that have come out in previous seasons that have said, if you knew what happened behind closed doors, like, you wouldn't think that it's all this, that it is in the media. You wouldn't think it's so as great as it is. And so I don't know. To me, that's like a little bit of like a feather in the Thunder's cap that like this wasn't, he didn't have to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, it would have been nice had they won a championship.
Right.
They were working towards that
whenever
he
close.
left. They were real close. But it's just kind of nice to sort of, I don't know, just get to see that he's struggling a little bit, that it's not as easy and it's not as great as it looks whenever you're winning, championship after championship.
Yeah, I think a great point you made is it's not as great as it probably could have been for him. Like
for sure.
win that here.
Yep.
The feeling that he gets from winning a championship here, the place that he started.
Yeah,
with Russ, they built this whole thing together.
I feel like 3 there is not worth as much as 1 here.
Exactly. And I feel like that's something LeBron learned in Miami. Like once he got back to Cleveland, it's like, oh well, this is
for sure
way better.
That's a great point.
It's true vindication
Right.
at its finest. And we like this franchise, this Oklahoma City franchise should rest their laurels on that. That you know what, like we tried to give you everything that you wanted. We tried to do it the right way, and you didn't want to play nice, and look how it worked out for you.
Ultimately, this doesn't affect anything for me. The Warriors will get it figured out, even if they're not enjoying playing on the court together. They're too talented for it to break anything up, and they're going to win the championship. Still a bummer, but it's nice to know that he's struggling a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
One more thing, Carmelo Anthony.
Great guy.
Melo and the Rockets have agreed to part ways. The interesting part, the Rockets won't waive him, and he can't be traded until December 15th. They're wanting, obviously, I think the hope for the Rockets is to get his money completely off of their books.
Just act like it never happened.
And so
We'll all remember.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't have to
definitely
pay
happened.
for it.
And so I think that, that's the goal, is that they're going to try and get that money completely off. Maybe they're calling it Melo still trying to fill out the league and see where his spot is. Maybe they're hoping for some injuries or just to see how the season plays out and see where he may be able to fit in. And the Rockets are hoping that's on December 15th, and then he can,
get the hell out of
traded.
town.
Yeah. Do you guys feel bad for Melo at all? At all in this? Because this is a pretty messed up thing.
I do feel bad for Melo, mostly just because, like, he thinks he's so good, and then, like, reality just isn't meeting his
if he didn't know it
vision of
last
himself.
year.
Yeah, right. Like, now it's like...
Yeah.
Like, you even did the thing about coming off the bench and it still didn't work.
Ugh, yeah.
That's got to be rough, man. And I do feel bad for him. Like, I wanted it to work for him in Houston. Like, I wanted him to go there and do well. Maybe the team to suck, but like for him to have like at least a decent year.
Right.
But that didn't happen at all. And it's just kind of a bummer for him. I love it for the Rockets, and I love it
Yeah.
for Chris Paul.
Well, so yeah, I feel a little bit bad for Melo, but at the same time, like he brought this upon himself. Like the league's been changing right before his eyes for a long time, and he hasn't made the necessary changes to his body, to his conditioning, to his workout and nutritional regimen. Like he hasn't made the changes necessary to be a factor in this NBA where you can still play into your mid-30s. You can. Obviously, LeBron's doing it.
Well,
so
also
what's the
LeBron's
difference?
a freak of nature
Sure.
and makes kind of tips the...
Sure, but Melo could definitely still do it, but he's just not. He didn't make the necessary changes that he needed to. And obviously, I think the Rockets are culpable still here. Like in this whole
very
situation.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's... I don't know. I do feel a little bit bad for Melo just because, like, he fought it. Dude, he tried.
Yeah.
Whenever he was here, he didn't, like you were saying, he didn't do himself any favors. The whole I'm not coming, like the whole who me. The whole thing that he had here. And then it is kind of, I don't know, it feels a little good as a Thunder fan. Like he goes to the Rockets, who looked so good last season. And he's not the only change that they had. Like they lost some pieces, some key pieces to what they do.
Right.
But they added Melo, and Rockets fans thought that was going to be great, and it didn't work out. And so it does kind of feel like, hey, we tried something, it didn't work out too. Like at least there's something there.
So this is 2 in a row.
Yeah.
It was Russ's faults.
Yeah.
Not Russ's fault.
Yeah.
It's vindication season, boys.
And we also see the other
good.
The other Russ thing that gets thrown around is that guys leave and then they have success.
get better.
Yeah, they get better. Well,
Or they go for
wasn't
11
this
with the
case.
goaltending basket.
how delusional is Melo in his role within the NBA still? Does he still think that I don't at this point I refuse to believe he thinks that he is a starter in this league and that he maybe for a bad team,
Yeah.
I think that he believes he could be a starter, but for a contender who I can't imagine he would want to go play for anybody other than a contender.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how he still thinks that he's still a starter in this league.
I mean, I could see him thinking that.
Ugh.
But I do think, kind of on Justin's point, like I think maybe he just had such an ego that he just stopped putting the work in.
Could be.
But now it's like, at some point, do you figure out like, okay, well, it didn't work there, didn't work here, and I even came off the bench. Like, am I just not good?
Well, and for me, it's more than just the Rockets don't want me. Like, think about the awkwardness of what are we like? 12, 13 games into the season, and not only do they not like they're willing to pay you to figure out what you can do, where else you can go, but just don't come near the team. Yeah, like I don't know. The whole thing is just awkward, and it just I feel bad for him. But that has to be like whenever your team is reaching out, like his representatives are reaching out to the 28 other teams. Like I feel like you have to be somewhat whenever you're not getting like people that are like, yes, we need him. Like, let's do this. Yeah, like
people excited. Like when he left here and Miami and Houston were like, we'll take Melo for sure.
Like there's some teams that are mostly reportedly into it, but who knows? And
I saw something about the Spurs the other day. I feel like somehow that would work out for him.
I don't know.
I don't think they're going to do that.
There's got to be a team out there that can play to the style that would help Melo. Like if you've got mostly a half court, really slow offense that has enough defensive talent to hide Melo.
I don't think that exists.
I think it could work, but that's the thing.
Isn't that the Thunder? I mean, without the half-court offense, probably.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Good defensive team.
He just stays on the one end for us. He just stays on the offensive side.
Well, when we get Dre back, I mean, you've got Paul George and Steven Adams.
It didn't work.
No, we're not
doing this. We're not doing this.
Fine.
It didn't work. It didn't work. We can't bring him back legally, anyways. So.
All right, let's get into the fun stuff here. The Thunder are a lot of fun to watch. It is it's good, right? It's good right now. We've won 9 of the last 10. And so I don't know. I mean, it's just watching this team, especially last night.
Oh man.
Just
what a blast that game was.
Everybody was making shots. They were
except for Diallo.
They were they were having so much fun out there. It looked like that was the key to me. It was just how much, and it's obviously a lot of fun whenever you're going to blow somebody out, and it seems like you can't miss. But like it feels like they've been winning, which makes it a lot more fun. And then that continues, like that sort of energy when you go into the next game. To me, feels like it carries on in a long season. Like that's something, like if you can continue that's something to build on.
Right. Well, and there's been talk about, last year the team had great chemistry off the court. Even when they were losing, they were going through all these struggles. They still got along well and all that stuff. But I think even going into this season, it felt like everybody just really liked each other, and it was such a good group of people. Like I just remember standing around them and them all just joking around at media day and stuff, and it just seemed like they were all loose and just cutting up. And then like I think that's kind of one of these things this year where they're just all so good together, and they've just built this up through, I mean, they're doing really well, and that helps, obviously. But I mean, even off the court, like through losses, like that loss to the Mavs, like that was not good. But somehow, like, they just got through it, and it's not a big deal to them.
I do want to piggyback off the whole, like, the off season where everyone seemed like they were on the same page and really enjoyed. I think part of that is just it's the second year. I mean, obviously you've got some new pieces, but when we went from the big three being Melo, PG, and Russ to the big three being what it kind of became towards the end of the season, where it was Russ, PG, and Steven Adams.
Right.
So now you've got those three guys, the core of your roster. They've been together for this is going into their second season now. PG makes this big decision in the offseason. And there's just that cohesiveness that there was a little bit of timidness last season going into it, but now you've got that second season where everyone just it feels loose
and he's committed.
It feels cohesive, and no one has to worry. One of the things we mentioned several weeks ago going into the season, none of the three players that are the best on this roster right now, obviously the big three that I just mentioned, none of those guys are in contract years right now.
Right.
That's a huge thing. So everyone can play loose, can play fun, and we're seeing it translate onto the floor, whereas last year you had to worry about Paul George. You had to worry about Carmelo Anthony. Is all of this going to work out? What are we going to do next year? There's no future that is tangible. Right now there's a tangible future and there's a tangible present, and it looks like it on the floor.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of this, or half of the game so far without Russ.
Right.
And so that kind of is, I don't know, that's even that makes it a little bit sweeter, is the fact that you you haven't had to have Russ do all of that. 9 out of 10, and like you haven't had to rely on Russ to just carry you through every single game. Like he hasn't been available at all for a portion of these, and so it's I don't know. It's just to me, it's really nice, and guys are hitting shots now. Like I don't know.
It helps a lot.
I don't know. I don't know how it comes down any easier than that. I mean, we just are seeing like Jerami Grant, Patrick Patterson, Paul George, who was struggling, is now hitting shots. I think it's just great to see Russ out, and you have guys that just have stepped up, and it seems seamless. Like it just seems like what you hear all the time, next guy up.
It's
happened.
Right, and that's like if you would have told me last year, like we win 4 whatever games without Russ, I'm like, no, that's probably not true. Like, and the teams we're beating, it's like they're not very good teams, but also that's exactly what we would have dropped before. It's like those easy games that you're just going to go out there and you don't have Russ and you have all these excuses. You don't have Dre, and they actually go out there and they are thoroughly taking care of these teams. Like the Suns the other day, they beat the hell out of them. Like there was no question.
Right.
The weird thing is, it's not even just like they're taking care of the bad teams. So you have to go out and beat bad teams.
Right.
That's how you become a playoff contender. That's how you make waves in the NBA. You beat the bad teams, and then you do what you can against the really good teams. What they were doing last year was that they were getting these big leads, and like everything looked fine. Like, oh yeah, they're up 20, it's fine. And then all of a sudden, oh wait, the team that is terrible is now back in this game. They're not doing it this year. They did a little bit against the Suns, but then they rebounded. They figured it out, and they got back into the game. The Knicks, they kept them way at arm's length the entire time. They're beating the bad teams like they should. They're playing good basketball, and they're playing the right way, and they're playing the way that they know they can play. Like Billy Donovan's put in a really good system for this roster right now, so they're playing the right basketball in the right way to be successful the way this roster is actually built.
Yeah, and that's based on defense leading to offense, and it's just I don't know. Like for sometimes, especially last night. Like I feel like at times you sort of lose words for what you're seeing. Like it's so good. Yeah,
like I mean, the Steven Adams like football pass.
Yeah,
and the Schroeder behind the back to Paul George's like badass dunk.
Paul George seemed like he was jumping higher than I remember him jumping.
I haven't seen him dunk like that in years. I don't. I didn't think he could do that anymore.
Feeling coming back in that foot?
Yeah, he's got that live foot now. He ain't got that dead foot.
So one question we have is are we overreacting to Thunder's success during a soft stretch of the schedule?
I would say it's possible, but again, I go back to like over the last couple seasons when they're facing these mediocre to bad teams, and you see them drop those games, or you see them get up big, like you were saying, and then they'll like that team comes back and beats them. I think this is how you build those like solid fundamentals throughout the season, and that we never got to see last. Like it's something they haven't been used to, just like getting on a roll and taking care of stuff, and so.
Well, even if it is a soft part of the schedule, they've gone 9-1 in the last 10 games. They started off 0-4, and now this is the best start through 14 games since the 13-14 season when they won 11. They won 11-13 in those first 14 games, and they're winning the right way. They're winning playing defense, which is sustainable.
You think so?
They're not just hitting a bunch of shots that are garbage. Like they're starting to take better shots in rhythm. They're moving the ball a little bit better than they kind of were in that 0-4 start. Like I think this is relatively sustainable, especially on the defensive end. I think the offensive end might drop off just a little bit. Like they're hitting shots at I think a higher clip than they're technically they're probably gonna do for the rest of the season. But I think this is sustainable. I think they can ratchet it up, especially against better competition, because they are winning in the right ways. They're playing the right brand of basketball. And like I said, they're playing to this roster's strengths, which is important.
Yeah, 3-point shooting during this 9 of 10. Jerami Grant, 43.3%. Patrick Patterson, 43.3%. Paul George, 39.8%. Dennis Schroeder, 36.4%.
That's crazy.
Like Schroeder is hitting, and it feels like recently that number has probably gone up
like
a
the
little
last
bit
couple.
because of how well he has been shooting. I don't know. Like I definitely think that this team will play defense all season. I don't know that I believe that they can continue to hit shots. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, them playing defense makes everything else easier. It makes getting rebounding. It makes playing offense easier. It makes everything else go whenever this team really locks in defensively.
Right. And speaking of over the last 10 games, they are the best defensive team in the league right now. They're a point better than Boston right now in defensive rating.
That's crazy.
101.6.
A full point.
That's
is
crazy.
big.
It's insane.
You're without your best defender.
Yeah. And Russ over some of them.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Would have never, like, if he would have told me that, like, you're insane, and no, that's not possible.
Well, so going back to the shooting real quick, the great thing about the way this, like, when you have Steven Adams patrolling the paint like that, you can afford to miss shots, and that's why those poor shooting nights, you can kind of erase that a little bit because he is such a monster on the offensive glass, where you kind of take away some of those bad shots, some of those open missed shots.
Right.
You get those back, you get another shot at it, you erase that deficiency shooting. And I think that's something that we might have overlooked a little bit because they've been so incredible on the offensive glass, and everyone's contributing, and that's without Russ.
You know,
Right.
the crazy part over the last 10 is their offensive rating is 5th in the league.
Yeah, and that's
That's ridiculous.
That's not sustainable.
That's the thing I don't think is going to stay there. But
yeah.
if it does, though,
And I do.
we good.
I don't know. I am torn on that because they're so good defensively, and getting out in transition is exactly what this team needs to continue to do. And so I hope that offensive stat can stay at least.
Or like close.
Yeah, close to it.
If they stay in the top 10, like that's
Yeah,
so absurd to me.
yeah, because they're only going to get better. You're adding pieces, even though it's not shooting, and shooting was what the problem was early on with this team.
Yeah.
You're not going to add shooting, but you're going to add, especially a consistent Russ playing consistently, and then you're also going to have Robertson coming back, and so
An elite defender, and he can help move the ball on offense,
Yeah,
which
he's
is
gonna
what
move.
they've been doing a great job of. Like, it's surprising, like, which I think we looked up their passing stats. They're still very low, in terms of against the rest of the league, but it with the eye test or whatever, it does feel like the ball is moving around the court a little bit more with this team than it has in several years at least.
So, like, two things. One, like with Russ and Dre coming back, it's not necessarily just, you know what, they're not the greatest shooters ever, but the shots they take are really high percentage
Right.
ones because they're usually around the bucket. So your shooting percentage, despite the fact that they're not great shooters, goes up even
Yeah.
with those two guys. But the thing about the ball movement is, you know what, the passes are still low, and they probably are going to continue to be low. That's kind of been the Thunder's thing since they were here. But the thing is, the reason why it passes the eye test, I think, is because of the quality of passes.
Right.
Because it seems like, especially going back to last night with the Knicks, it seemed like every single pass was either resulting in a bucket or it was resulting in a pass that went to a bucket.
Right.
Everything seemed to be an assist or a hockey assist. So when you're getting those quality passes, it doesn't matter if you only throw 40 of them in a game. That's obviously a really low number. But if you've got 40 passes and you end up with 20 assists, your percentages are really high. Obviously, that once again hyperbole, but they're making the right passes to make the right plays. You don't have to pass the ball around that much when you make the right play consistently.
So let's talk about Russ. We talked about adding these guys in. Let's talk about adding Russ. This team, in the last 10, Russ has played in 5 of those games. So Russ comes back. This team's playing really well. Obviously, when Russ comes back, he's going to go into a huge role. We would want nothing different.
Correct.
But any concern there that this team has been playing so well that Billy is going to have to figure out, maybe he's seen a couple of things that he likes without Russ, that maybe he's going to have to integrate Russ and figure out how he now fits with some of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that part of it. Like, hey, Russ, we noticed like when these couple of things are happening, maybe try to do this instead, or maybe get the PG the ball here. Something like that.
Yeah.
But I really think it's obviously to me going to make the team so much better because you pull the Raymond Felton minutes out.
Oh yeah.
Which have been the one thing that to me have been a negative. Which he's even been making shots lately, a little, which is weird.
I wonder what Ray is shooting.
I would like to see that. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like now, Dennis Schroeder's playing with that bench. And
so real quick, Felton 17.6%
Oh,
from
no.
3, 17.6% from 3 over this 10 game.
Wait, you
How
said
many-
Raymond Felton, not Andre Robertson, right?
Yeah, Raymond Felton. But yeah, I mean, to that point, like he's also shooting. I don't know. It feels like whenever he's out there, like he's shooting. He's just shooting, right? He's just
you can
shooting.
Stop there. He's
and
shooting.
so I think that's a great point. You're going to take those minutes away, and
you're gonna replace them with incredible MVP minutes.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, give me that.
If it was that easy, sign me up.
Sounds
But there
good.
is something to be said about this team kind of figuring it out without Russ, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. I think if you can figure out how to play without Russ, whenever Russ is playing, but he's on the bench, whenever he's resting in games, like now you have something that you can point at and say, when he was out, this is what we did and this is what worked. And hopefully, that's my hope, is that you've found these little things, these little wrinkles that when Russ isn't on the court, now you have something that Billy can say, no, here's what we did and this is what worked, so let's do that.
Yeah, I mean go ahead.
Oh no, you were going to say that was.
I was just going to say that's a great point.
because it was.
That is true. It was a great point.
Did I get a ding?
Good job, Rob. Yeah, that was excellent. High five, man.
All right.
So I think the biggest thing going forward when Russ does come back, which I think it's going to happen really soon because you really need to get him out there before the Warriors game. You want him hitting at least back at 90% before that game rolls around because it's the Warriors. You still have something to prove.
Yeah.
Beat their ass.
The thing is, like, there's no one that has more to prove right now than Russ. I think and
On
granted,
this team. Because Melo would be like,
I have so much.
hold on. Hey, bud.
Hey, I think I can still play, guys.
Yeah.
Granted, look, we know what we can get from Russ, but I think the way that he's been watching and taking all this in and the way he's interacted while he's been on the bench,
Having a blast.
I think
Yeah.
it's been something to really take in as a fan because I think he's going to see a lot of things that he knows works with the way this team is playing with Dennis Schroeder out there. And I think he needs to take it upon himself, especially as a leader of this team. He is the leader of this state. He is Oklahoma's guy. He has to take it upon himself to integrate a lot of those things and play the right way and play to some of the strengths that they've had, granted against bad teams, but these things that are working right now. Because if he can do that and you can have that same seamless transition where you could basically start to plug and play. It doesn't matter if Dennis Schroeder's out there. It doesn't matter if Russ is out there. You're going to have the same exact offense with the same exact flow. People are going to be in the same spot, hitting the same shots, doing the same things. That's a terrifying offense and defense to play against consistently if you're any other of the 29 teams in the NBA.
Right. And I think that's the goal, is that consistency. And so it only also helps whenever guys have to step up, and they do.
Right.
And then they have confidence, and it's just going to get easier. It should only get easier whenever Russ is out there. And things keep moving.
I mean, you said he was out for 5 of the 10 last 10, and they won several of those other 5. And I mean,
okay.
I'm just saying, like, it was going well with him there.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's gonna he's gonna come back and then it just throws a stick in the spokes. Is that the saying?
Stick in the
Justin?
Some bicycle.
Yeah, when the bike's going through, if you shove a stick through the spokes, like it makes the bike tip over.
Guys flies over. You remember Big Daddy with Adam Sandler?
I've seen the movie.
I'm surprised.
Face first in the concrete.
Yeah, he threw sticks in their spokes and they flipped over and it was funny.
I thought there was a rollerblader that he threw a stick in front of, and
they probably did that too. I think they did that.
Okay.
Maybe that was it.
I'm questioning your
Son of
bicycle
a
one
bitch.
now.
It's
Have
been a
you
while.
seen Big Daddy?
I've never seen it.
Okay, I didn't
I'm
think
just kidding.
so. Okay, so we also talked about Dre.
Can't forget about Dre.
With as well, and then we're going to assume that Dre is going to come back 100%. I don't think that there's any reason to assume anything less at this point. If we see something different, we'll readjust then. But let's just assume that Dre is going to come back 100%. Completely looks like himself. We've seen a lot of Schroeder and Russ lineups, especially at the end of games to close out games. So what happens? What do lineups look like whenever Dre comes back? Russ is out there. I think you have to have Schroeder out there. We've seen Billy go with Paul George at the 4 at times. Is that sort of what you do? Do you want all three of those guys, Russ, Robertson, and Schroeder, as well as maybe Paul George and Steven Adams? Is that who closes games? Or does Schroeder and Robertson, one of those two, not?
So one, it's Billy Donovan, so I think it does depend on the situation. But exactly what you said with Russ and Robertson, Schroeder, Paul George at the 4, and Steven Adams, I think that lineup
sounds nasty, partner.
Is versatile enough.
You save that.
It's versatile enough, and it can do a lot of things. So in any game where it's a 5-point game, whether the Thunder are up 5 or the Thunder are down 5, I think you can do a lot of things because you're going to shut teams down on the defensive end, but also you've got the cutting ability of Andre Robertson, which is really, really solid.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Schroeder who can also cut, but if he continues to shoot well, you've got another shooting option. You've got Russ, who just has the ability to take over games because he's Russell Westbrook. You've got Steven Adams, who now you can run an offense through Steven Adams, and you don't have to worry about it.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
He is a monster.
In fact, you should run more offense through Steven
agree.
Adams, but that's a whole different point. And then obviously you got Paul George, who's the best shooter hands down on this team. That can do a lot of damage as long as you can figure out a way to get Schroeder on someone that he doesn't have to play the greatest defense because he is a little bit undersized.
Yeah. I mean, you could put him on a point guard and put
Yeah.
Russ on a shooting guard.
Sure,
See,
he
to
can
me,
move
that gets
well.
a little scary,
Sometimes.
though. Yeah, because I do feel like if you can run Russ around a bunch, he's going to start to sit, like to not follow as much.
You're right.
Which sort of, I don't know, Russ gets a little bit...
Like if they're playing the
To me-
Sixers with JJ
Yeah.
Redick, you're like, no.
To me, that's the concern with that lineup. Whenever you have the if Dre is 100% and you know what you're getting late in those games with him, like to me, I think that's where I kind of lean towards. You still kind of go back to having Russ and Robertson, and then you put Paul George, and then another guy we need to talk about is Jerami Grant. I said
great.
earlier he's shooting 43.3% from 3 during this 9 out of 10, and so. Like, that's another guy. Like, seems like he might belong in that conversation about who should be in at the end of games, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's a hard thing to pick if you're Billy, right? Like, all of these things seem to work together, but it's like, it might depend on a situation. Like, do I need more defense in this? Like, if we're playing the Rockets, like, I'm going to have Dre out there. Like, there's no question putting Dre on Harden, right?
Right.
But, like, if you're playing a team that doesn't have some crazy score and you just need to score, then you go the other route. And, like, maybe he just does it situationally.
God, this is such a terrible...
It's fun to have.
This is such
these
a terrible
pieces.
problem for Billy Donovan to have because even, going back to, like, yeah, you know what? Like, Schroeder versus Dre, that's a big thing. But at the same time, like, look, you're down 2. You throw Abrinas in there. Like, you've got so
Right.
many more options than I feel like you ever had in the past. Like, you kind of got handcuffed, especially last year when you had to have Melo out there until you figured out you cannot have Melo out there. There's so many more options and so many weapons depending on the situation. You could be down 10 in the last two minutes, and Billy Donovan can throw a lineup out there that can make up that difference. You can be up 10 on the Warriors, who can erase that deficit really quickly. You've got a lineup you can throw out there and make sure that they don't erase it. You've got so many options, so many weapons, whether it's defensively or offensively, that Billy Donovan can go to. This team is really versatile, and I think that they can really flex, especially when Dre comes back, into any situation that they're going to be put in crunch time.
So, with Dre coming back, say he gets a hack-a-drade. You throw old T-Ferg out there if you need some defense? You not trust him that much, or do you?
Feels
I don't
good
know.
right now.
It's a good question because
He's looking pretty solid defensively, at least.
I don't know, because the problem with Ferguson is I do worry, what does he do in limited minutes?
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's you can make the case that whenever he is seeing regular minutes, like, he kind of gets in the flow of the game a little bit more is
That's
what
a
we're
great
seeing.
point, yeah.
And so I don't know that I think, obviously situationally, maybe.
Right.
Like, there's a time and a place for everything. But on a consistent basis, I don't know that I see it. I don't know that I think that Ferg will come in and do something like that. I think if you need somebody to come in, it's going to – I still hope – we've talked about this a lot on the Aftershocks. lately, but I still think like it should be Diallo. Like I think Diallo is the guy that you can just throw in at a time, and he's going to go do something really good.
He always does something really
He's
good.
going to find the ball.
It's crazy. Or he doesn't.
By the way, we did have an
Yeah.
ask, and I did want to bring this up because we finally organically got to Diallo. We have to talk about that dunk last night.
Yeah.
Or, well, the dunk attempt.
It was almost
Last
so
night.
amazing.
That went
I was out of my seat before it came out of his hands. I'll tell you that right
that
now.
went top 10 to not top 10
It's so
so
fast.
quickly.
Shacked in a full.
It was
Yeah.
it was amazing. Although like the thing that I think people are going to forget about this, because it was kind of hilarious that on the way up you lose the windmill. Well, one thing, I think it was it Nader that ended up getting it and hits
Yeah.
that weird like
Yeah.
floater
15-foot
off the
hook shot
backboard.
off the
Yeah.
backboard.
Hit a rafter, came down.
Yeah.
It was weird.
The thing that's going to be forgotten about that whole
of
thing
his 4
is
points.
that was a great defensive play. Like
Yeah.
they forced a great turnover, live ball turnover.
Yep.
He got out in transition, just maybe tried to do a little bit too much, trying to wind up the window.
It looked cool.
It looked so badass.
Until
it didn't?
Yeah, until it didn't. Like I was, yeah.
I can't
was
even
so
explain
excited.
the excitement that I had while this was like I saw him run down the corner. I was like, "Oh, here it comes!"
Yeah.
And then he actually started to do a windmill, and I was like, "Oh, he's really going for it."
It did
the
look
balls
like-
on that guy, like that's amazing.
It did look a little bit like a dunk contest attempt.
Yeah.
Where like maybe he thought, well, I'll just run this back. Let me do this again. Is kind of the way that I felt. And then the whole Nader thing, whenever like he just threw it up, and it was so
strange.
So strange.
I also loved how Hammy, however I'm going to say it,
Mm-hmm.
how he jumped up to try to get the rebound of it. He was like, "Oh, well,
yeah.
gonna go back."
Nobody really knew what was happening there. So this shooting, we talked a little bit about it. So sustainable, not sustainable. How confident are you guys feeling right now in terms of?
At this level, I don't think it's going to sustain at this level. I think it's going to drop off for sure, but I don't think it's going to go back down to as bad as it was. So I think
Okay.
we're going to fall off a little.
Well, the point is that even during that stretch when they weren't shooting the ball well, like they were getting really good looks.
Yeah.
Like they were.
Agreed.
It seemed like you were getting in the sets that you wanted to. The Thunder were getting to the spots, I guess, that they wanted to. The shots weren't going in, and so maybe they've built on that, or maybe we're gonna see,
and yeah, maybe
something
they've
coming
gotten
back.
maybe they've gotten comfortable in those looks that they're getting.
Could be it,
like
too.
maybe they're starting to figure out, okay, well, this is the spot that I'm going to start getting these looks.
Yeah.
Early on, it was a function of they're just not the greatest shooters ever. This is a function
That is very
of
true.
they're getting really, really great shots, and they've finally gotten consistent enough in those looks.
They all remember
To
they were
actually hit
NBA
them.
players.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we should be able to make
It
these.
Should make these.
It has to regress a little bit, but you did see, like, it'll regress to the mean. At the same time, like, you did see kind of a growth towards how great those looks were. So it's definitely somewhere in the middle, but I don't think the drop-off is as huge as the climb to where they are now was from that 0-4 start.
Yeah. All right. You want to do?
Do some sizzlers?
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, I don't have the awesome graphic. I just realized. That's sad.
No.
But we're still going to do the music.
All right. Let's do it.
Jason.
Woo-hoo! Welcome into Rob Sizzler, sizzling up some of the finest takes on this side of the mighty Mississippi. Now, let's send it over to your chef, Chef Rob, and see what's on the menu tonight. Take it away, Rob.
I feel
Oh, God.
a little ridiculous right now.
That hat is very high on your head.
Yeah, closer to God. Tell you what.
Woo!
All right, boys. Nice for y'all to join me tonight.
Heck yeah.
So we're gonna come up with a couple of takes.
We
Some takes. You all right over there?
We didn't figure out the headphones.
Well, you gotta work out your hat. All right. So here's the first one. Oh God. Lost mine.
What you got for us there, Rob?
So here's the first one. This one is about Billy Donovan.
Uh-oh.
So we talked a lot about guys starting to hit shots. So here's this one. We all should have had a little bit more faith in Billy Donovan's ability. Oh God, I can't even talk.
A Bill.
He ain't got no T.
Can't talk.
A Billy. A T. Oh, God.
Oh, that was a good save.
was rough.
Billy Donovan's ability to coach this team and knowing what was best during lineups, minutes, just everything in general should have given Billy a little bit more leash.
So you're telling me Rob Larson
Hey, I'm asking the question.
Oh, that was a question.
I mean,
thought
it's
you
a
were
take.
saying
It's a
it.
take. I think we should have. I'll be the first one to say I should have. It looks good right now.
I'm
That's
so
what
proud
I'll
of you
say.
right now.
Coming around on
I'm about
Billy.
to cry a little bit.
How's that?
I love it.
Yeah?
I agree 100%. And then the strap though makes it look so much better. I feel ridiculous. But yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think, like you were saying just a minute ago, the team was getting really good looks, right?
Yeah.
That whole
Yeah.
time. And I mean, we did talk about it at the time, but also a lot of shit was talked about, Billy, and it has been for the past year or so.
I feel like I'm riding a bull over here in this chair. It keeps knocking my hat off. House.
This is my first time on the Sizzler. Like I missed the first one.
You wear a cowboy hat
I'm
well.
I am
Yeah, it'll fit your head
trying
well.
to. I'm
That's probably-
trying to like. Oh man.
Helps that you don't have headphones under it. But
Oh, maybe
what
I
do you
should
think about that take? You agree? What do you?
No, I've supported Billy Donovan the whole time. So like, yeah, I'm all for it. Like, let's go. Like this is definitely a function of him doing the right things. Like he's got the players and got the things going for him now. I love it.
All right, so we got a Brandon take here.
Oh,
If the Thunder get to 50-plus wins, Billy Donovan should be in the running for Coach of the Year.
oh.
50-plus, I don't know. So I think there's a big difference when you get around that 50 point. Like once you, if you can get to 50, that's nice.
Hell,
It's
you're
not
half
as-
to 100 if you're at 50. Tell you fucking what.
don't, because I'm on the edge where I will lose it right now. Anyways, this is what I'm going to offer up to you guys. If the Thunder get to 50-plus wins, Billy Donovan should be in the running for Coach of the Year.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah?
Shit, yeah.
Let's do it.
Get up in there, you know?
Feel like Arthur Morgan right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead, girl.
100%.
Go on and get it.
Look, Billy Donovan, one of the greatest coaches. If he can get to 50 wins this season, he's one of the greatest coaches that I've ever seen coach.
That's
in
right,
this
mister.
National Basketball Association.
All right.
Go on ahead there, Bob. I'm going to do this the whole rest of this time.
All right, here's one. This is also from Brandon. The Thunder. We just saw the Thunder.
The hell's this, Brandon Sizzler?
We just saw the Thunder get some new uniforms. You guys see those new uniforms?
Fire.
Yeah,
See them on the old tube.
sure did.
So how about a matching court? The Thunder need to get a matching
Oh my God.
court.
I can't even do the
uniform.
voice right now.
I got so excited.
So OKC Tracker on Twitter, I think that's what they're called. They do, like, they put out all the uniforms they're wearing and all that. They made a mock court for the city jerseys, and it looked really badass. And I am furious that the Thunder aren't just like, yeah, let's make that now and get it in the next time they wear the uniforms, because they should be doing that.
But, okay, here's the thing. Yes,
Goddamn
is
right.
the answer to that question is yes. Here's the problem. The Thunder are always at least 1 to 2 years behind what everyone else is doing.
Dog alert.
The problem is it's going to be a while.
Dog alert.
Look, the city jerseys. I love the city jerseys. I love all the symbolism of the Native American symbolism. It's been awesome. I'm just carrying through it.
You keep going.
The problem is like the statement.
Oh, there, girl.
The statement jerseys are the ones that the court needs to be like made.
Oh,
off
yes.
of. That would be a
Why
baller
not
court.
both? Why not both?
For those only listening to the audio version,
We do have
you are missing out. There, we have cowboy hats on,
ridiculous ones.
so you need to check
Mine's
into YouTube
legit.
Live.
Yeah, yours actually, you look like you'd get in that PBR. Is that
I
what it's
think-
called?
You
Is
look
that
like
a beer?
Professional bull riding.
Yeah.
It's also a beer, but yes, PBR is.
confusing.
you look
as hell.
like you just came off the farm.
That's right.
Hat fits well. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
What
here
else
we go.
you got for us,
We
Rob?
let's go with this one. The Thunder are currently on a 2-game winning streak with a very favorable schedule coming up. So, enhancing on that 2-game winning streak, the Thunder will go on a 12-game winning streak. Come on.
Ah, damn, Bobby.
Oh. Yeah?
I'm with you, though, yeah. Sorry.
Hey, I
Thanks.
already said it like after the Warriors game. I said that the Thunder will go on at least one 10-game win streak this season, and they got so damn close. If they don't shit the bed against the Mavericks,
yeah.
they're there.
So let me real quick go over their schedule that are coming up. They have the Suns, the Kings, who have already beat the Thunder, so that's one that they have to write.
Pretty bad.
They're going to come back on that one. That's one that they have. That's a loss they have to write right there.
Well, my mom always told me is, you make it wrong, you gotta make it right.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Soap in the. Did you get the soap in the mouth?
Put soap and dog food in my mouth. That's right.
And then they get and then they have the Warriors with no Steph Curry, Draymond, Kevin Durant gonna punch each other probably.
Oh God, I
Yeah.
hope Draymond kicks Katie in the dick.
Oh,
yes! How cool would that be?
I'm all for
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so then
Glorious.
so that's really that's the third game of these next 10. So the Warriors game, that could be pretty tough. That's in Oakland. That could be one of the more tougher games that we're going to see here. So then the Thunder come back home. They get the Hornets, and then they get the Nuggets at home.
Yep.
The Nuggets, who started out really well. I think they
Incredibly.
were like 8-1 or something
Yeah.
to start the season, and now they've lost 4 in a row.
They on a little skid there,
as,
bud.
the Nuggets aren't as good as they were, or at least they're not playing as well as they were to start the season. So
Correct.
that's another tough one still. But if the Thunder get past that, their next games, they have the Cavs
Win.
and the Hawks at home.
By God, better win.
They go to Detroit.
Win.
They go to the Nets, who
Win.
just lost LeVert,
Oh, sad for me and my fantasy team.
and then they have the Bulls,
Win.
right? And
Doubles.
so what I really think here is, assuming they get past the Kings, who the Kings just beat. Who did the Kings just beat? The Kings just beat.
somebody. They
Was it
beat
the
the-
Spurs?
The team they just played.
The Spurs?
Yeah, didn't they just? I think the Kings.
They just beat the Spurs?
I think the Kings beat. Or who did they?
Are the
just
Kings for real?
beat? He's looking it up. That's questionable.
Give me a second.
But the Kings are a good offensive team.
Spurs.
Yeah, so the Kings
What a
did just
point I
beat the
got.
Spurs.
Wow.
So like,
I mean, it's not the Spurs, but it's still the Spurs.
yeah, the Thunder. I hope will continue to play defense. Will be able to beat the Kings, and then it really comes down to the Warriors without Steph and the Nuggets who are struggling.
Yeah.
I think that they could go on a 12-game win streak here,
It seems plausible to me.
which they've won 9 out of 10. You'd have to take 2 of those away, but that's still, you could, I don't know, like that stretch of 9 out of 10, and then you have the next 10 if you win the next 10 in a row.
Is that 19?
That's 19 out of 20.
Woo! Shit fire.
Thanks. Math's
Sounds-
not.
Thank
Just-
Don't do math in the South, boys.
You write that down with your pencil.
But so even if they drop one of these next ones, like the fact that they could legitimately go. Was that going to be 19?
It shoulda.
or
Should have done
20
math
20
before.
so
Anybody got a
going-
goddamn calculator?
If they go 20-2 or even 19-3 in this stretch, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also think getting Russ back, it's only going to help. All of that, 12 in a row.
Are we tied for third right now with Denver?
Yeah.
9-5.
Yep.
Beat the
And
hell out of all
they're-
them teams. We might be up there.
I mean, they're closing in on the Blazers, who are 10-4, 1 game back of them.
2.5
And,
games back from the Warriors.
Yeah, nothing. It ain't nothing.
Got to take
Ain't
this
gonna do
division back
shit.
though. I think that's a must this season. Like you have to win the Northwest Division back. Like
I like
that
it.
banner's got to go.
Oh,
back
damn,
up
that
and
would
be-
feel so
yeah.
good. Even though divisions don't matter at all in the NBA, that would feel good.
It's been too long
Yeah.
since we've raised one of those banners. It's about time.
Agreed. All right.
Oh, is that the end of the Sizzlins?
That was it. We're going to do some social media inquiries.
Yes, sir. Yep. Right on cue.
Social media
Right when you ask
inquiries.
for it. That's right.
Is it always on cue now?
Always.
From Thunderfan123 at Fan123 Thunder. I
Very
really
creative person here.
love when they just change things up like that.
Yeah.
Will the offense flow as well when Russ comes back? I think we already touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, there is concern, though. Like, I will say, I don't feel like it's a given that there won't be any kind of
There's probably going to be
learning
adjustment
curve there.
period,
Yeah.
even if it's inside of a game.
But he has played. I mean, it's not like he's been out the entire season and they're just throwing somebody back in there. Like, he's played
Yeah.
with these guys. He's, obviously
started
he's
to
been
get
good enough for
comfortable with them.
practice. And the bigger question is, it seems like Russ is coming back soon, but I kept thinking, like last game, I'd be like, I feel like the way that you've seen him walking and
He
just
went-
kind of moving around, it seems like he was going to play in the last
Right.
game. He didn't.
went through
so-
his full warm up before the game, so I was
Right.
like, it's on.
Yeah, it feels like it's really close, but I don't know. I think that there will be a little bit. I think it's to be expected that there will be a little bit of trying to still figure it out with Russ. but not too much. I wouldn't expect.
Yes, sir.
From Ben
Still
Burke
got
at Ben_Burke10, was Adams Cantor the best part of the game?
It was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun. The Adams and Cantor after the game was pretty fun too. Whenever they were asking, Steve about his comments that he made about, take him out. He doesn't play any defense. Like that was all. I mean, that was all awesome.
Pretty hilarious.
And then the whole Cantor thing, like after he was like, it's all love. He was like, I'm gonna go see him in the hallway in just a second, and I'm gonna give him a hug, and he did, and they took pictures, and everything was great.
I just love that guy, man.
It's like brotherly love. Like that's what it feels like. Is they get after each other, but that's only the two of them can get after each other.
It also makes it better that Adams kind of dominated him.
Oh, he definitely did.
Great times.
Yes,
He did, but at least from Ennis' standpoint, like he did still have he had a pretty decent
he does.
game.
He had a good
exactly,
game. And like Steven said, he doesn't play defense, but
yeah.
he did have a good offensive game.
I did love all the tweets about Steven Adams like standing at midcourt while Ennis was shooting a free throw, just going, Ennis, I know you can hear me.
Hey, Mom.
Mom, Mommy, Mom. From JD Brown at JD_Brown9, when was the Thunder this much fun in the regular season? In my opinion, 2013.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh,
I would actually say kind of late in the year 2015, 2016 when they started to really put it together in that first.
That was a good time.
That first Billy Donovan season.
Yeah, I think that I have like a bad taste in my mouth because
From
of
the way it ended.
Yeah,
It was very depressing.
It also, I think there's something to be said whenever these guys were still kind of figuring it out, right? Like you still had these young guys.
Yeah.
Even though they went to the finals, they had gone to the finals. And
That year was so fun.
Like I do think that there's something to be said, like these young guys that are so talented, but still had to figure it all out still in the NBA, and like. I don't know. It felt like there wasn't as much. I don't want to say responsibility.
It was
but
like naivety or something.
Yeah,
none of us, even fans included, knew what the dark side of the NBA business would bring about. It was still just new and young, and everything was fun.
There wasn't as much pressure.
Everything was great, and it was like we shouldn't even be.
We
here.
still wanted
we shouldn't
them.
Even
we
be
still
here.
expected. We still want that team to win, but it feels like, especially now
Now
with
they
the whole
need to win.
Kevin Durant thing gone, and like just being in flux of the last season and not knowing, and I don't know, there's just so much more pressure now. And then it felt, I don't know, it just felt a little bit more loose and a little bit more fun.
Yeah, loose and fun. That's what it was.
That's what I like.
From Brad Ross at Ross B, if you had to wear a wig based on an NBA player's hairstyle, would you choose Ron Baker, Elfrid Payton before he cut off his head shelf,
That's a good one.
or Terrence Ferguson?
Ooh.
Hashtag analysis.
Such a good question.
That's
I
great.
like this so much. What are you going with?
Is this just is there an occasion that I'm wearing this wig for, or is this just like my everyday wig?
For fun, I think.
If it's for fun, you got to go Elfrid Payton, because
Dude.
that's goddamn ridiculous.
I don't know how that guy played basketball.
He blocked his own shot with his hair.
He had an
Literally
awning
happened.
coming over his eyes. Like, how do you even know where the basket is?
So in those Popeyes like the Popeye commercial, or not commercial, sorry, that's the chain, the Popeyes cartoons, where he would squeeze the spinach can and the lid would flop open. That's kind of what it seemed like. Elfrid Payton's, it was like the top of the can just flopping over his eye.
I hope that when he went to his barber or whatever, I hope he goes, hey man, you remember in Popeye the cartoon, like when he would squeeze the spinach can and it would flop out of there? Do that.
So
Yeah, I
That's what
got you,
want.
fam.
That's what
one
I
thing
want.
that's probably not all that shocking is I've never seen Popeye.
Jesus Christ.
The other thing is there's no Kyle Singler in there? Kyle Singler hair?
I'm not going there.
All right.
No thanks. Who you got?
No, Elfrid Payton for sure. Like, just the whole...
As long as I'm not trying to play basketball in it, because blocks the shot.
Yeah.
Has anyone looked at his field goal percentage or free throw percentage and seen if it's gotten better since
No,
the
I
hair was cut?
haven't.
Well, dude, until he got hurt, he was starting to ball. Like, I've got him on the fantasy team. Like, he was playing really well, and then he got hurt. So,
Oh.
yeah, I think
Didn't even know that.
I think the haircuts helped a lot.
Nice.
Boom. Heard it here first.
Yep.
From Hunter Harjo at Hunter Harjo7.
You got a 7
Do
in
you
the
think the Thunder should blare tornado sirens when Abdul Nader checks in?
No, I do not.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Like, it signals...
Everyone would immediately evacuate everywhere in the city.
The game's over at that point. Anyways,
That's true.
Like that's the signal of the end of like Nader's coming in. That's the end of the game. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I mean everybody knows that. Like they're heading out right then. It happened. I watched it all. I was like, but it was pretty nice for me because no traffic.
Yeah, Thunder games have been.
They make all the traffic for them, and then there's none for me.
That's
and
true.
I get to see the whole thing.
I at least do it in the stadium.
In the arena. That's okay.
Nader warning, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
I like it.
We should start tweeting that out. Just saying.
I like it.
From Dakota Baker at Bearded Thunder 1. He's Bearded Thunder 2, actually. I'm Bearded Thunder 1. Thanks, Dakota. Who has the worst chemistry right now? The Warriors, Rockets, or the Thunder broadcast guy?
Oh. I will say.
Choice C there.
I will say, I do feel like maybe I feel this way for him, but it does feel a little bit like maybe there's a little bit of animosity growing there.
Whoa.
I don't know. I don't know if it's.
Is it Chris Fisher?
Well, yeah, I think Fisher is getting like I don't know. I've only listened like maybe like 2 games that I've actually watched on TV that I've had to watch that telecast, and so.
Right.
But I think that maybe there's a little bit growing there for Fisher. Like Cage is kind of getting on his nerves maybe a little bit, or
I mean, I don't see
know.
how it couldn't be. How could it not be that?
We've talked about this before, but he says things that just annoy me so much. I want to go watch something else. Like I want to watch.
I've muted my
else at
TV
that
for
point.
several stretches of this season,
That's
and
a good
I've
idea.
not really done that before.
You know what I'm going to say, partner?
That's nasty.
That's mean.
Ooh.
Look, so
Brought us down.
We're
a bunch of bullies.
No.
Thunder won 9 out of 10 though.
Absolutely not.
Back up.
No, you're not bullies. No,
Oh.
Michael Cage absolutely needs to be reprimanded for he's not good at his job.
Awfulness.
There's a plot twist I didn't see coming.
Yeah, you really
No.
threw us a curveball. Also, it knocked over Russ.
Damn it, Funko
Got a big old head.
Funko Pop Russ. The bad thing is, so I think we're now realizing, like, look, a lot of people didn't like Brian Davis, and that's fine. And there's a reason why Brian Davis had to leave his job. It makes sense. Like he was a little bit. He said some things that he probably shouldn't have. And sometimes it happened. The thing is, that guy's chemistry and on-air ability to call a game, which I think was really underrated.
Yeah.
I think he hid a lot of deficiencies that Michael Cage had as a color commentator.
That is correct.
I think that's becoming
fair.
very, very noticeable now.
They got to notice it, right?
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Because,
It's bad. It's so bad.
great guy, but
I don't know. Sure. Fine. But just go do something else.
Could this be the
Go play in
first?
the church league full time.
Could this be the first
Something.
time that we see a color commentary guy fired mid-season?
How about a trade? Can
Ooh,
we add
yeah.
him to
Oh,
a
can we
trade
trade?
piece
I'll put him in a
later
trade.
on in the season?
hell yeah. But not for the Clippers guy. Don't like him.
Okay, just
Bingo!
just he's known as the Clippers guy.
Don't like him.
From our friend Jason Kelly at Kales405.
What's up, man?
Hey,
His fantasy football team's bad.
I played him this week in fantasy.
Ooh.
Where
my ass kicked last
where
week.
have all the Ferguson haters gone? And then the emoji.
Oh, the thinking emoji?
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to find them nowadays, right?
It is. It's weird. It's just like the Billy haters. They're all in the bushes with Homer, you know?
So one thing about basketball that I think has always been really prevalent in my life, it's been one of those things that's been said over and over and over again. Making shots cures all ails. The thing
Yes.
is, when you start to make shots, it doesn't matter how terrible you've played before. If you start to make shots and you start to win games, everyone starts to forget what was going wrong in the past. And that's what's happened with Ferguson.
It's true, but Ferguson's problem was timidness.
Right.
That's all it really was. I think he was.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
the moment of starting, of knowing that Robertson was going to be out. I think that just kind of got to him, or
Maybe
I don't know
having
what it
those
is.
other guys behind them in the
Maybe.
depth chart,
But also, I remember a quote from Billy who said that he shoots the ball. It takes a second for him to shoot, and that's what people point at,
Right.
rather than all of the other good things that he does while he's out there for 20 whatever minutes. And I think that that was sort of something that stuck with me, where I started watching, and yeah, he does positive things, even though you don't see it in the stat sheet.
Yeah, but watch him off the ball. Like,
Right.
pay attention to him playing defense off the ball, and it's really awesome.
He did a really solid job against James Harden the other night. Like, I was actually impressed because it was like watching a rookie, Andre Robertson. The mistakes that he made were just like, you'll learn that. Like, it wasn't just like you can't do this. It was, you're not ready to do this at a Dre level yet.
When also something I thought was really cool regarding Terrence and Paul George is that apparently in that Suns game, Paul George kind of changed the defense and had Terrence guard Devin Booker whenever he was kind of the Suns were starting to do well. And it put Terrence in that pressure situation. And then Devin Booker did kind of terrible after that. And it was pretty cool to see like Paul George put faith in him and be like, hey, you got us.
Right.
Go do it.
Yeah.
And I think that probably says a lot to Terrence. Like that has to mean a lot to you.
Let's bring it home from Melinda Redman at MKR 2400.
Well, that's
Yeah,
a lot of numbers.
What scoop do we have on how the team gels off the court? Trying to gauge a likelihood of any chaos such as Golden State Warriors are going through. From the outside, this Thunder unit seems very tight, but that's because we are winning, and I'm curious what's out there on this topic.
So I will say, with the Warriors, you have a lot of egos to deal with, right? Like Draymond, KD, those are the bigger ones.
Yeah.
But
You still
and the
got-
more abrasive guys, I think, the more guys that are just kind of going to butt heads. Draymond with anybody.
Yeah.
Clay, who seems
He doesn't.
pretty
I don't even know if
easygoing,
he
but-
has an ego whatsoever.
I just don't see that dynamic with this Thunder team. Like, there's not Paul George, who wants to win, who expects to play well all the time, who is very good at basketball, doesn't
True.
have that sort of abrasiveness or that, I don't know, just what you get out of Draymond. Now, Russ, 100% could be a little difficult probably with
Yeah,
teammates because he's
but
going to
that's-
get on you, but I feel like the rest of the guys around there, that's part of what the Warriors have to go through. Is you have all of these guys who are really good, and when things aren't working as well as you think that they should, you kind of find out about who's really there for you and who you can kind of lean on. And those two guys butting heads, I think you could kind of expect that as soon as things start to go downhill. I think you could kind of expect that they're going to
Those
start
are
to
the
turn
two
on
that
each
are
other.
gonna do that, yeah.
But with the Thunder, I just don't see that dynamic. I don't see how you could have that, and they look like they have so much fun.
Right, and
on and
that-
off the court.
To me, that's why Paul George is the perfect pairing with Russell Westbrook. Is he's got the perfect personality. They've become very good friends. I
Yeah.
think everyone points to that being one of the number one reasons, or the number one reason Paul stayed, was because of the relationship that Russell built with him. And I think Russell probably learned a lot from the whole KD situation and the time there, and has taken a lot of a much different approach to this whole situation. So
Yep.
yeah.
Going to some notes.
Oh.
Scroats.
Shoot.
Notes. That's pretty good, right?
That was nice.
All
You did
right.
good.
Happy 30th birthday to Russell Westbrook.
You better have it. Dude, we knew it was already Russ's birthday. You had to have had this up.
But I had to switch computers is the problem because
Happy birthday.
Brandon had to have a
happy
baby.
birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Just anyways.
Happy
So we
birthday,
don't have the
Russ.
sound.
Happy birthday, Russ,
Okay.
from us.
All right, next. Steven Adams is now the second leading offensive rebounder in Thunder history behind Nick Collison.
That is nice.
He can't be that. Did you guys see? So during the broadcast of the Knicks game, they showed Steven Adams' ranks, and
yeah.
State, and he's like top 5 in like everything.
Yeah, there was like 8 categories that they listed. And
Yeah. He's up there, which granted he's played with this franchise his entire time, but you're talking about guys like Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, like you're going against those guys, but you're now like you're the third guy. Like when you talk about Oklahoma City's franchise history since it became a thing, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Steven Adams. Those are the 3 names that come up right now.
Pretty badass.
Yeah.
Jason and I talked about this a little bit, but Jimmy Butler traded to the 76ers. What do you guys think?
I'm a little bummed that the whole
The drama's over?
The drama's over. I was
Yeah.
having a great time with, which I mean, also Wasn't there something about him already talking shit about Markelle Fultz? I don't know if that was like a true rumor or not, but it's just funny if that like he
supposedly. Yeah, I don't know. Supposedly his people were saying, I don't know. The quote that I saw was Fultz is done because Jimmy Butler's not going to baby him or treat him with kid gloves.
Which Fultz is already out of the starting lineup. Very good move by the Sixers because but no, I think it's a good move for them. I mean, anytime you can trade for a superstar like that, I would do it. I mean, especially with what they've been trying to do, and it puts them in a much better place in the East. I don't know if it makes them the best team in the East because you still got Kawhi and the Raptors. But
the Raptors look really good.
Damn, they look incredible.
The 76ers are 5th right now in the East, behind the Raptors, Bucks, Pacers, and Celtics.
Which I would assume that would bump them up a couple spots, but we'll see how they all mesh and everything.
Yeah, I don't know that I just feel like it really changes. I feel like the Celtics will get it figured out. To me, I didn't have the 76ers really making it to the finals anyways.
Right.
And so I think as good as the Raptors have looked, and I completely kind of didn't realize how good the Raptors were.
Yeah.
They spread the floor completely. They have so many guys that can shoot. And then you throw in Kawhi, who's playing so well. The Raptors are really good. So.
Yep.
All right, so now we have we're gonna do some basket-o balls.
Did anybody get it?
Huh?
Did anybody get the basket?
Yeah, it's right
Oh,
here.
good.
Yeah,
we got it.
All right.
So just
I've got the standings. By the way,
okay.
if
So
you need
let
them.
me tell. So
Whoa.
That is hot.
that was in my ears, loud. So each week we do this. We have a basket-o balls.
It has
where
balls in it.
It's got all of the NBA teams. There's some little special balls in there that you can get throughout the week, and
Wild cards.
Yeah, wild cards.
Wild card balls.
And so
Wild
basically,
card,
we pick
bitches.
one. That's we get one choice. So like we pick one, we can throw it back if we don't like it. But the next one you take, you have to
You
stick
gotta,
with.
which I learned last week by
Yeah.
picking the Lakers
Yeah.
and then throwing it back for the Hawks.
So do you want to do the standings real quick?
Yeah, so those Los Angeles Lakers that Jason so foolishly threw back went 3-0 for Justin Wright.
Who
or
did
me.
he get instead of the Lakers again?
He went with the Atlanta Hawks, who went 0-3.
No! God, please, no! No!
Rob, you're in second. You had the Golden State Warriors, who went 2-1.
Sure did. Good pick by
And
you.
Brandon, back and forth at 0-3 with the Denver Nuggets of all
Ooh.
teams. So
Top ball game, bud.
Yeah.
Jason and Brandon,
right,
you
I'm
guys
back.
are tied at 0-3.
Okay, so Justin, you're in first. You go.
Yep.
You go first.
Mix those balls up.
Give me, I was gonna say I've been shaking it, but
Oh,
give me a
I'm
little
gonna
shake
give
just
you
to,
a
just to make
great
sure.
shake.
I don't want to be unfair like Jason.
All right.
Yeah, he's a cheater.
I've never cheated one time.
Damn it!
You gotta be
Too
tall.
high or what?
My
You're
headphones
too-
came loose.
Oh. Just one, bud.
Pick up one ball.
Milwaukee
Ooh.
Bucks. I'm sticking with the Bucks.
That's
That's a good
Yep.
choice right
All
there.
right, I'm next, right?
So you mix it for him then. Manny will get me.
All right.
Don't
Let's
look.
see here. I'm
I
not
saw you
looking.
looking.
I'm not looking.
Ooh, the Orlando Magic.
There you go.
How are they doing right now? Let's take a look.
Yeah, how are they doing? They're not good. I'm throwing them back.
They've won their last one.
Oh,
1-1 in the last
Terrence,
one.
Terrence Ross buzzer beater.
I can't get one. All right.
Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, gosh.
Where are they
Chris
at over
LeVert,
there?
come back.
And even in the standings.
Maybe we'll get Melo. Nets need Melo quick.
I'm not going left-handed. That's weird.
Oh, hey.
Oh, Brandon needs to go?
No, we'll let Justin do it at the end.
Utah, yes.
Ooh.
Didn't they just get beat by 50 though?
Yeah, they did.
Magic.
the math. I don't know where I'm still working.
I'll stick with them.
Okay, all right. Give it to here. I'll shake it up for Justin.
Yeah, please do. These guys
And
are
then-
plugged. I don't know why I'm still wearing.
It's
This
okay.
is for Brandon.
No
This
sound,
is
it
for
just sounds
old baby
terrible.
having Brandon.
This could be your gift.
Is anybody talking to him about?
I don't
who
think he's
picking?
available.
Yeah, I mean he is possibly having a kid.
Who is it?
Against the spread.
He does like.
Oh, he loves betting.
He
That's
loves-
good for him.
That was his. Well, no, I mean, he has to keep that one.
Yeah, he has to keep. You can't put those back.
Yeah, you have to keep the special wild card.
Oh, you do?
If they're attenuators.
I should probably be saying this into the mic. You have to keep the
All right.
special ones like that. So Keep it up.
Maybe
and
not if it's the OKC blue, but if it's like
I gotta choose his team now.
Oh,
yeah, there's an attenuating. Yeah, that works.
oh.
I'm just saying that
I'm
word.
an
I don't even
idiot.
know if that's the right word, but
There's an antenna. You said yes.
yeah, that's it.
So you could throw back the team.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can throw back the team, but you have to stick with it against the spread
Oh.
wild card ball. So he's gonna take the OKC blue.
Ooh, he'd probably toss. Wait, no, they're doing very well, right?
I don't know.
I think they're doing very well.
I'd throw it
I'm
back.
gonna look up the schedule.
Wait, this seems cheating. You got to make a split-second dice spin. You ever seen that, Wheel of Fortune? We're getting way off topic here.
I sure haven't.
Hold on.
All right. Just throw it back.
Just toss it back.
Yeah.
I think they've been doing very well, though.
He'll get an NBA team because we're an NBA podcast.
He's gonna be so upset when he's like, "Oh, the blue was number 1 in the."
Chicago Bulls.
Hey!
Oh, he.
But
Could be good.
Against
Could
the
be good
spread
against
with
the
the
spread.
Bulls.
They don't have to
Oh,
win.
you know what? He couldn't have taken the blue because
there is
I don't
no
think
spread.
there's a spread.
See?
That's
yeah.
right.
Knew
right.
it.
All right.
All right. So, thanks for tuning in. Also, thanks to Scissors and Scotch.